Hey everybody, this is Jay Young, and we are back to the Jay Young Show again. I'm trying to figure out which camera to look at, but anyway, yes, we're back here, and today we have a true Renaissance man. Not that I know what a Renaissance man is, but we're going to find out. Steven Matsumoto.
Jay, thank you. Matsumoto, but thank you very much.
And Jordan.
Yes, I'm
And
here.
Jordan.
Hello.
Hey, she's alive. She's alive. She's in person.
Wearing blue.
Back
Back in blue.
Back in blue. Back in blue, and back from New York.
Yes.
Wow, what a great trip.
I know. It was an
The
awesome
Central
trip.
Park, that was a great.
Thank you.
What a
Thank you.
great
I was just
time.
trying to do the backdrop justice,
Man,
you know.
you really did.
Thank
you
you,
really
Jay.
did.
Thank you, Jay.
And I told my wife that I do want to go to New York. I do want to go to see Saturday Night Live. I've never seen Saturday Night Live in person.
Oh, yeah, how'd that conversation go?
It's gone pretty good.
Yeah.
She's asking when, and I said, well, for my
Hey,
birthday.
that's a step in the right direction.
Yeah, exactly.
So
Yeah.
there you
well,
go.
we broke the ice. On that
Yeah,
one, so.
there you go.
Now it's all about, okay, we got to work on it.
Yeah.
Probably remind her 2 or 3, 4 more times. But not that I'll be there on my birthday, but I'm going, that's my birthday present.
Oh, there you go. Yes.
Never
Jay,
done
when's your
it.
birthday?
Well, then you have to catch
January
the new
3rd.
movie that's coming out about, like, it's supposed to be the first 30 minutes before the first episode of Saturday Night Live.
See, that's what got me started.
I saw that trailer
Yeah.
just the other day.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, how fun.
The
Man.
guy that plays Dan Aykroyd is spot on to all of his little nuanced caricatures. So
Oh, wow. That's great. I look forward to that. I mean, it's the 50th anniversary.
Yeah.
I remember back when it came on, when it first started. I know that it's way before you, but
I do remember I know some sound bites of some episodes. You know,
Yeah.
I think I referenced that last time. We're too wild and the crazy guys. So.
Steve Martin.
But
Hey,
Steve Martin's my favorite.
He was such. Yeah, my brother was a huge fan. I kind of wasn't. I know. I like the intros.
How could you not be?
I know. I just think he's kind of stupid.
We'll unpack that later.
Sorry, Steve.
Over a
I
glass
don't
of
mean to say you're
whiskey.
stupid, but
So-
I just think a lot of his stuff was kind of, oh yeah, whatever.
Well, you're
I feel the
entitled to
same
your-
way about Will Ferrell. I don't get
Okay.
the
Yeah.
appeal of Will Ferrell. I'm like it's the most juvenile base comedy.
I do
But
like Step
there's
Brothers.
an audience for it.
I do like
Just
Step
like
Brothers.
the old movie Airplane.
Yeah.
I've not seen that one.
I am serious, and don't call me Shirley.
Oh yeah, no, definitely. And I met Will Ferrell in person, and
What? Was he the
we're coming
same?
back from Star. Yeah, he was kind of, he's kind of really nice guy. Held the elevator for me. We went
Oh,
to
that's
Starbucks.
nice.
We came back from Starbucks.
Yeah.
It was Thanksgiving Day, whatever it was in New York, and he got on the same elevator, and he went to a higher floor than I did, of
That's
course.
so cool.
But yeah, nice guy, really nice. But
You just run into all the people, Jay.
I do.
That's how you two met.
Yeah.
On
On
an
that
airplane.
flight back from Seattle, that
Yeah.
it was like I think it was during the holidays or right before the holidays. I can't remember. It was like November, December,
Yeah.
Wow.
several years ago, I think.
Holiday time frame. Well, you have, as Jay said, been such a renaissance man. You've dabbled in so many different industries, from being a marketer to banker to a little bit in fashion. And
what does Renaissance mean?
Yeah, explain that. for us.
Well, rebirth, like the Renaissance era.
Yes.
So basically, it's like I get bored easily when I'm not intellectually challenged. So I just find something that I find interesting and become obsessive about it and reinvent myself.
Yeah, I can't remember what you were doing. I mean, and even Renaissance is capitalized. I'm like, man, dude,
All
you
caps.
got to bring this up. But you, I forget what you were doing. Back
Well, it's
then.
like, so back then, I have my overarching entity is a marketing and advertising firm called Stigmar, which is taken from the Latin word stigmate to brand or mark. So it's where the word stigma or stigmata comes from.
Oh,
So having a military background, I have a huge affinity for Latin words and phrases.
Yeah.
And what I was doing back then is like I was a W-2 banker. I think I was at Bank of America at that time, doing as a business banker. But I've had Stigmar since 2009. So anytime I get something that's creative or interesting, I'll just operate that through that entity, and I found a niche doing dust bags for luxury handbag brands. And so I would
Doing dust bags for.
so
it's
it,
important. It's important.
I was
Jay.
thinking Jay Young show, but then I'm thinking, then you went to dust bags. I'm like, I'm out.
You
I'm
know,
out on the advertising.
When you have
help.
a very expensive purse and you're keeping it in your closet or wherever you're wanting to keep it, you put it in the dust bag. And sometimes if you're really anal retentive, like myself, you put it in the dust bag, in the box, in the bag, in the closet. Does
Oh
that
my
make
gosh.
sense?
Wow, it does.
it's just a high quality cotton bag that brands like Louis Vuitton, I mean, even some Coaches,
Yeah.
Hermes, they come with this little cotton flannel drawstring bag.
Yeah.
And I found a niche doing that through my time in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And it was a very lucrative business that I could work maybe 5 hours a month
Yeah.
and generate,
Lots of
a decent income, a decent secondary income from to supplement my
Yeah.
W-2 income.
Well, you
Plus
know-
take advantage of all the tax deductions.
Yeah.
Yes,
there you go.
we love talking about the tax deductions.
Yeah.
I mean, and there's so many different industries that are doing the dust bag thing. I mean, even shoes now,
Yeah.
they do them as well.
I did
so-
a project for PETA of all people.
No way.
Yeah, that was like one of my first big projects was a project for PETA.
Okay, so how did you stumble into this? Because you said that you found this niche market. but-
It's circling back to marketing is there was a small handbag brand in Seattle that contacted our fashion incubator, and
Yeah.
because we had a small cut and sew where we could do manufacturing for not very technically challenging items.
right.
Dust bags, very simple to construct. It's
Right.
and
It's cloth and a drawstring
Yeah,
and a
exactly.
logo.
The hardest part is getting the drawstring in when you don't know what you're doing.
Right.
So they contacted us like, sure, we'll do these for you. They were using a home sewer at the time to do them, and the home sewer was either too old or couldn't do it, didn't have
Yeah,
time.
yeah.
And we did that project, and of course, being a marketer, I did a blog post about it.
Yeah.
And
the
then we
blog.
started getting inbound leads off of that blog post
What?
to the point where eventually I created a website called customdustbags.com and hooked that up to HubSpot. And
Oh my gosh! So this is recent because HubSpot is not too old.
well, no, HubSpot's 2009.
2009.
Yeah.
Is it?
I didn't know that.
In-
we do.
unless you were, well, at the time I was in Seattle, so I'm surrounded by the tech scene.
Right,
And so,
right.
they all like to play with the new shiny tool in the tool
Yes.
chest and think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread, and then it phases out 9 months later.
Right.
HubSpot is fortunately still around. I understand they may be getting acquired by Google or something like that, but there's much better CRM tools out there now than HubSpot.
Right. Yeah.
What do you mean by that? What do you mean better?
With the rise of AI, there is so much that you could literally replace a call center with AI.
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. They imitate people's voices with the pauses and the thoughtfulness and everything.
And they never go off script.
Really?
But they're also intuitive.
Replace a call center.
Yeah.
So I got 300 people in a call center, and all of a sudden you're going to
You
say, I'm
could
gonna
probably
buy
cut
this.
your expense by a quarter and replace that entire 300 person staff with AI. And let's say you have a
How
list
do I
of
buy
five.
AI? Do I just go buy it? Do I go online, Google?
Good
Hey,
question.
Right now there's a lot of folks out there that are resellers because there is some technical aspect to it. Some of them you do have to have some coding skills to do. Others are more plug and play, or to use a web design phrase, WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get.
Juicy wig.
Yeah, so it's like someone like Stigmar can actually help you do that because we have those relationships. We've become resellers of different solutions.
Yeah.
Because
let's go back to this 300 people again.
Yeah.
I'm curious because I'm sitting here thinking about it, kind of going, okay, so you're saying that if I had 300 people that in a call center, you could replace it with AI because AI is just an
because all you need is the
automated
list and a
what's it stand
script.
for? Artificial
intelligence.
So is that artificial intelligence? Is that going to call to 300 or take in the 300 calls a
It
day?
can do both outbound and inbound calls.
Inbound and outbound calls.
So,
and
I've heard of the
if you
inbound.
have a list of 5,000 people,
Mm-hmm.
AI can make those calls in 30 seconds.
Really? Okay.
Well, yeah, because it's
And then
going
it
on
acts
at the
at,
same time.
you can put your
Is
qualifying
that good or
questions.
bad? What, does it do anything?
Well, for the call center industry, it's pretty bad. And this is because at some point,
Are they getting the
it'll
same
get
accomplishment?
cheaper
Is there
and-
the same? Is it? They may call 5,000 people in 30 seconds, but is there any
I think,
good come out of that?
You
or?
know, it really, like as I see it, it really depends. It depends on the company, and then I think it depends on what your goal is. Because if you're wanting to keep that kind of mom and pop feel or that like genuine, there is something. I'm not sure it's necessarily there yet with that conversation piece, but it is close.
But it's very good for setting up. If you're just got
Right.
appointment centers, it will set the appointment, and then it will follow up with text messages and emails
And the reminder.
And just like anything else, it's what you put into it is what you get out of it. So
Right.
if you don't have a good script, if you haven't tested that,
Right.
if your email copy is junk,
Right.
but it's like because I've tested some of these things and.
Even with people, it's not
and
working.
I've thrown some ridiculous objections at it, and it will kind of pivot and handle it. And so if your goal is just to set the appointment for a closer, because it may or may not close the deal, but
Right.
it can increase your appointment conversion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's good. That's awesome.
So
Yeah.
I
It's-
mean,
it's
it's
exciting,
like
but
I started
scary.
researching it because part of the things that I do at Juno's is we do Class B sales to bars and restaurants. Well, right now we're a small store. I can't afford a lot of human staff, but I can afford a monthly
Right,
subscription
right.
to make those outbound calls
So then my
to
next
call on bars and
What
restaurants.
is Juno's Liquor? What are you calling people for?
Well, it's like it would.
On specials or come in for the?
Well, we have a rewards program, so if we know that someone has a pattern of buying bourbons, hey, we got this brand new bourbon in.
Okay.
like the Crown Royal Blackberry
yeah.
that you guys just got in because I want to try that, Jay.
Oh, really?
You got to
it
get
good?
out to the stores. I don't. First rule of being a drug dealer: don't get high on your own supply. It's like I joke with my customer. If I only stocked what I like, there would be 3 bottles on the shelf. There would be Glenfiddich and Macallan Scotch, Belvedere vodka,
Oh, there you
and
All right, let's
Captain
get
Morgan
back
spiced
to.
rum.
Let's start real quick, Steven.
Sure,
I don't mean.
no,
let's-
no,
go ahead.
yeah, absolutely.
So you're a Renaissance. You're a U.S. Marine, a marketer, banker, and then you buy this Junos. I just want to get into what Junos is, so we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
People go, well, Junos. What's?
Yeah.
So right. So I'm just saying, you bought a distressed acquisition called Juno's Liquor, which is an actual liquor store.
Correct. So in November of, I'll kind of go a little bit further back than the acquisition. So
Not
in
too far back.
Not too far back.
Okay, yeah.
It'll be quick. So in 2021, another friend of mine in the finance industry and I both saw what was coming economically. Honestly, we should have went into a recession in 2019 because that's when German bonds went to negative rates. So you were actually paying to own them.
Oh, I see.
And COVID kind of put a pause on anything, was very good for the liquor industry.
Yes.
Unfortunately, all the suppliers want those types of numbers, even though that was a windfall event.
Right.
Everybody's getting drunk and they're getting
yeah,
pregnant.
Well,
exactly.
the lines
right?
out. I mean, I remember I was living in Colorado at the time, and like on the news, they were showing the line that was wrapping around the building almost twice fold
Because there was nothing else to do
because they were like,
during lockdowns.
what are we gonna do? And you're gonna take this away from us
and then you're stuck
too?
with your spouse in the house 24/7.
Wow.
No, I'm just kidding.
So you're
like that's the
bringing
new
into the
Dr. Seuss
industry a
book.
little bit more than what a normal liquor store, in my opinion, is just a liquor. It's open, and if it says open, you walk in there and you buy your liquor. You can
yeah,
only do
so
it
we're
on
trying
social
to
media.
elevate that customer
You're
experience.
you're doing the marketing part.
So
of this.
it's like when so to shorten that story up, it's like we were looking for some type of recession-proof cash flowing asset. Like all the Cody Sanchez stuff, laundromats, car washes, vending
Right,
machine racks.
right.
Buddy of mine knew we were looking, saw he had a buddy that was a business broker who posted a Facebook post that said liquor store, fire sale, phone number. I got a screenshot of that on Sunday. I called the guy Monday morning. We had the deal brokered by Friday, and we made a cash purchase because the owner had made some bad financial decisions.
Right.
And we ended up acquiring that store for less than $100,000 cash.
Oh my goodness! I was going to ask you how much.
With everything in it.
100,000.
With everything, yeah. And it was
that bad.
It was that bad.
Oh my gosh.
And
How much do you think it should have sold for? What do you think the value was? It 200,000 or 2 million or what? I mean, is real estate.
So
real estate
no
in the building.
no real estate, so it was a lease space.
Lease on the building.
You know,
all the
it's
liquor.
like I hate to say it. I think even though we got a great deal, we overpaid just to get the deal done. And
Yeah.
but before they had made the bad decisions that put the store in a declining trajectory, the store did very well.
Got it.
It was probably it was anywhere from a $700 to $1 million a year
Well, those
revenue
numbers-
top line numbers.
I'm not a big investor yet. Jay, I'm learning from you. I'm learning. But those numbers sound great.
Yeah.
So the challenge with the industry is
What do you think you're making? 300,000, 200,000, 300,000
With
a year? or
so on that the problem was their data was so skewed because they weren't reporting their cash transactions.
Okay.
Oh.
I wouldn't either. No, I'm
That's
kidding.
that's what got them in trouble. Yeah,
Taxes.
Yeah. Oh.
yeah.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, they still the previous owner still owe the comptroller over $55,000.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, still.
So you're buying a store.
So we bought the store.
700,000. What do you think? What
So
what
we
did you
took
expect?
it from 220,000 in 2022 to almost 400,000 in 2023, and we're up 30% in 2024 at store one, and we're actually in the process of opening a second Juno's location in Las Colinas, where again we found a distressed owner. This time they didn't want to negotiate in good faith and sell the store, but we loved the location and knew their situation and just waited for the landlord to take care of it for us.
Oh, and so they did, and now
And
here
so
you
they
are.
did, and now we just got our permit for that store a
Nice.
week ago.
Yeah.
We're trying to get contractors in there so that we can get that store open before the holidays, because just like most retail businesses, liquor stores do the bulk
Yeah.
of their revenue in
Right.
fourth quarter.
Right.
Yeah.
But we also just built a brand around it. And,
Yeah.
circling back to, growing up in Seattle, I graduated high school the same year Starbucks went public. And then I went to college in Seattle. So guess what? Every business class was talking about.
Right.
Amazon, Starbucks, Microsoft.
Right. Right.
Costco a little bit. And so we decided, okay, we want to be the Costco of liquor stores. Because it was one of those stores that, just like you described, Jay, you walk in there and it's like, okay, yeah, it's a store. It's nothing special. There's liquor on the shelf. Prices may be a little higher because it's a little corner liquor store,
Right.
not
Location.
not a Specs. Well, that's a great thing. It's a half a mile from Mansfield, which is a dry city still.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
So that's a good.
So a lot of
Going
our,
right
di- a
around.
lot of our digital marketing is located on that zip code along the
Yes.
But we've realized it's like the hard part about the business is that it is a cash heavy business because the state dictates credit terms. So you can't have more than net 15 terms with your liquor distributors. So there's no such thing as net 30, net 60, net 90 terms. They want to make sure that you can financially afford it. And a lot of folks where they get themselves in trouble from what we've seen is they chase the discounts at the distributor. So have you ever walked into a liquor store and there's like 20 cases of Tito's at the front door?
Yes.
Because they're trying to hit the price break to get it cheaper.
Oh.
And so instead of following that model, we decided, okay, we're going to get the better pricing by one, selling to bars and restaurants. We make no money on it, but it increases our case counts on our orders. So it helps bring our margins up and our costs down on inventory. And then we're going to duplicate this like Starbucks by putting one on every corner. We want to be the local boutique, elevated experience liquor store. So if you took Starbucks and Nordstrom's and merged them into a liquor store, that's our vision for Juno's Liquor.
So do you have like a place to kind of sit, like a little bar on site?
So unfortunately, that is illegal. We can't let you
Oh.
drink inside of the liquor store, except
didn't
with
know.
the exception being tastings. Yeah, that's a whole different permitting
know.
Wow.
and there's a lot more liability with that too.
Right.
So we just have.
fights and everything.
But instead of walking into one of those stark white stores that's super bright and kind of smells like broken bottles of liquor because they lost their mop. You walk into one of our stores, we've got the laminate wood flooring.
Nice.
The walls are painted like night earth tones, like a terracotta, burnt orange kind of color. Lighting, sometimes we're restricted by whatever the space comes with.
Right.
We hope to, as we build up and get more revenue, we can get an architect and a lighting expert in there to improve that customer experience. Because when you walk into a Starbucks, it's not overly bright. It's bright enough.
Yes.
And we want that warm, inviting feeling, and then you just combine that with a high level of customer experience.
Right.
So instead of the guy that's just sitting behind the counter kind of scowling at you, making sure you're not putting bottles in your pockets, like get out from behind the counter, be on the floor, talk to the customers. If someone's lingering in an area, hey, are you having trouble finding what you're looking for? Ask questions. Had a young lady come in the other day. She's a beer drinker, but she found out she's pre-diabetic. So her doctor said, well, if you're going to drink tequila and vodka because low on the glycemic index. She'd never had vodka before. We sat there for 20 minutes of going through each of the different vodkas, talking about distillation processes, making sure that we weren't going to affect any potential allergies, because vodka isn't just made from potatoes. There's made from wheat, it's made from corn.
Wow.
And so engaging in that way, which is
Elevating.
a little more than the average liquor store experience.
Right.
And we don't want to be Specs or Total Wine, where it's basically you're overwhelmed by the options. And it's just like it's like a grocery store. It's kind of a sterile grocery environment.
So I'm a marketing nerd, and I get really excited about marketing things. And so one thing that, as you're talking about this, I wanted to pick your brain on is, how do you, when you're looking at your return on investment, when you're putting money into marketing, how do you then go all the way to the closed sale to say, okay, we put money into Google, we put money into Meta, we put money into, Yelp or whatever it is, and then we had this amount of foot traffic and then this amount of closed sales, and where are people dying on the vine, and then how can we justify this ad spend and know where to put more money and stuff? Because I think that's a lot of times what people are struggling with, especially as they're starting their business. They're like, okay, I know marketing's important. Now, where do I put the money, and how do I justify the spend?
Well, there's still a lot of truth to that famous quote, 50% of my marketing budget is wasted. I just don't know what 50%. But it's like, so, and that's where you've got to understand the difference between awareness marketing and directional marketing. A lot of your questions seem to be geared towards directional marketing. Going to my marketing background, I used to sell Yellow Pages advertising back in 2007, right before digital just crushed that industry.
Yes.
I mean, they were on a controlled crash. So I had this conversation a lot of times. It's like,
How long were you in the Marines?
8 years.
8 years, okay.
Yeah.
So you're
He's
50,
been-
40,
he's been all
40,
over.
40 years
51.
old? 51, okay. So I'm just...
Renaissance man.
I know, obviously. It's capitalized in here. So, but, okay, so I'm just trying to think. So
No.
did you get out of high school, college, and then went into
Yeah,
the
4 days after my commencement from high school, I was in boot camp in San Diego.
boot camp, San Diego?
Yep.
Good, okay. 8-year Marine.
Yes.
And then you got out and you did what? What was the first?
First one was furniture salesman at Levitt's, and that didn't last very long.
Wait, it wasn't exciting enough?
Okay.
Yeah,
I think the
yeah.
silence says everything.
Yeah,
That's okay. You don't have to
no,
go
but
into
it's
it.
like, well, and then it's like, so after that, I found myself in the automotive industry, which almost related to my occupation in the military. In the military, I was a heavy equipment operator, and I was in charge of the headquarters element of my company. From an enlisted standpoint, so
Did you sell used cars? Is that what the?
I have
Most
sold
people,
cars.
they say, I was in the automotive
No,
industry.
I was what the
I was a used
automotive
car
industry
salesman.
calls fixed operations, parts and service. So I was actually a parts department manager.
Okay.
So I actually use all of the skills that Daimler Chrysler taught me about how to run a parts department to run the liquor stores in terms of a supplier relations and an inventory management standpoint.
Yeah.
Hey, so okay, I want to go here with this. 'Cause this
Sure,
is-
yeah.
I don't know how much
Okay.
more time we have. We're doing good on
I
time.
need to watch like that.
But I'm just thinking about, man, this sounds really cool. I don't know where the Juno's name came from. Where did the Juno's name come from?
The previous owner named that. The best I can figure out from the research is it was previously owned by a young lady whose grandmother helped her get started. And Juno, from the research I've done, is basically the Roman equivalent of Hera in the Greek pantheon. She's the queen of the Roman gods. And so
That doesn't surprise me that you researched that. Anyway,
I'm a
moving on.
nerd. I am such a nerd.
Moving on.
Well, I wanted to try to find. It's like,
This
well,
guy-
everyone kept asking me, so I'm
Trivial
like, well, I should
Pursuit.
probably know
The
this.
story. That's the
Diff-
marketing piece.
Double Jeopardy, trivial. Just call Steven. Right? He'll be a
I
true.
will be.
He'll be a Renaissance man in that category. 500 for what? What is it? Whatever. Okay, so let me ask this: how many different liquor stores are there out there? Let's say in Dallas-Fort Worth. How many liquor stores are there? Individually owned. That
Oh,
you're
I don't know the Dallas-Fort Worth area. I think the. I'm trying to remember because I heard this statistic on a TABC call. I think there's over 3,000 independent liquor stores in the state.
Oh, wow.
in the state. Okay.
In the state. Well, there's still dry counties and dry cities in this state too. So
In Texas?
In Texas, yeah.
No way.
Yeah. Like I said, Mansfield is a dry. It's
I
a
didn't know
semi-wet
that. Did
city.
you know that?
You can buy beer and wine
What's
in
that?
Mansfield.
That there were dry city.
Oh yeah, I grew up in the Dry City.
Yeah.
Really?
Sulphur Springs. We had to drive 18 miles, which took us about 3 seconds to get there, and it took us about 4 hours to get home. But, whoa, man! But 18 miles, yeah.
Yeah.
Dry City, yeah.
No, I didn't know.
So okay, so the reason I'm asking is because I want to get in the business segment of
Yeah,
the
absolutely,
show and
absolutely.
just talk about. Okay, so I talked to you about apartments. You know, these people at multifamily, and of
Yeah.
course, I wrote the book, The Upside of Oil and Gas Investing. I think I sent you a copy of it. Maybe not.
I don't think I've gotten a copy of that, but please
right.
do. It's
I'd
like,
love-
I
love to-
follow a lot of your stuff on your LinkedIn channel and everything like that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah.
dude. And but anyway,
When I make the exit from the liquor stores, we'll have a conversation.
yeah. Oh, about the investment. Okay, but let's get you there first. So could David Moore, multifamily guy, my hero. He's 20 years younger than I am. Well, probably not 20, but he's a lot younger than I am. Killed it in the apartment business. And I was talking to him one day, and I go, man, I said, how many apartments are there in Dallas, Fort Worth?
Yeah.
How many are there? Because he goes, we just concentrate on Dallas, Fort Worth. And I said, man, you and about 12 other people I've talked to. I said, how many apartments are there? Thousands
Yeah.
of apartments, literally in Dallas, Fort Worth. And I'm like, well, okay, well, I can understand why you could concentrate on one area.
Right.
They've since gone to Nashville, Houston, Phoenix, grown it to, however many doors he has right now. But I'm thinking about the same thing with you. If there is a liquor store and you're talking about Starbucks, or you're talking about an apartment complex, or you're talking about, there's like your marketing campaign. You drop your marketing campaign into Juno's Liquor in Irving?
Irving, yeah.
Irving. In between Dallas Fort Worth, there's a town called Irving. That's where the Dallas Cowboys played at one time.
Yep, we're going to be right there in the Las Colinas Business District, right next to the Omni Hotel and the Toyota Music Factory Entertainment District.
Oh, that's
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Really good.
We'll have to
But
visit it.
you have so you have that one store, and so if you just duplicated that one store, everything's going to be pretty much the same, right?
Yeah.
How many square feet do you have in a store?
So our first store in Arlington is only 800 square feet.
800 square feet.
The Irving store is going to be, I think it's a little over 2 times that.
Yeah, so about 2,000.
Yeah,
square.
and we want to keep our stores tight like that on purpose.
Boutique feel.
One, boutique feel, but 2, I can run that store with 1.5 full-time employees.
Ah, I see.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that I pulled from that I found successful in the automotive industry again was working 4/10s versus 5/8s.
I don't know what that means.
So liquor stores have mandated hours by the state, so we can only be
okay.
open from 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. Well, that's about an 11-hour day. So if I bring in an employee and I say, okay, you're going to work 4 days,
Yeah.
you can close the store for 1 hour for lunch. Then they've done their 40 hours in those 4 days, and they get 3 days off.
Got it. Okay.
You know,
Would you say for what?
Four
4-10,
10s or versus 5/8s.
4
Four
10s
10-hour
versus-
days versus, oops, I keep hitting the mic. And I know that drives Emilio nuts. 4 10-hour days versus 5 8-hour days.
Okay.
And then that way I can have one person there 4 days a week. We're only allowed to be open 6 days a week. So then I have one person that works 2 days a week. So
Okay, let's get back to the story again. Okay,
and then
so you
the-
have a story.
Yep.
Okay, sorry.
it's all right. It's like I start getting, I
No, that's all
nerd
right.
out about the minutia. I apologize.
You'll get back on this Renaissance.
I asked.
Renaissance talking about all this other little gizmo. But anyway, so you're going to have I'm just thinking about this. This is a great idea. I mean,
Yeah,
this
I
obviously,
mean, right now we're negotiating with another store.
how many could you buy this year? I would think-
We're only restricted by the amount of capital we have.
Yeah, that's what I'm
Really?
saying.
Yeah,
Let's-
it's like I get emails every week for 2 to 3 stores that are going on the market for sale.
And
I
do
would
you-
rather find them before they have a business broker involved because then it's a much more complicated negotiating process because
a broker involved is a lot
like a business
more?
broker. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a lot
because
more
I
complicated?
would rather work directly with the owner because then we can get more creative with acquisition structure.
Yeah.
So like this store, like we're talking to a couple of owners right now, and we're offering them equity in our entity instead of cash.
I
So
see.
hey, you spent 2, 3, 5 years building this up. Something has changed. Your heart's either not in it, you're struggling financially, you're on the state's credit default list because the suppliers have to report to the state if you're not paying your bills, and then you can't buy liquor, so you can't get inventory to dig
my
yourself
gosh.
out of that hole.
Yeah.
And going in and saying, hey, we'll pay off what you owe your distributor and we'll give you X amount of equity in our entity. So you'll have a smaller piece, but of a larger pie. Because we're not isolating each store as its own LLC. It's going to be an overarching entity, and we're in the process of getting that converted to a C Corp so that we can actually go out there and fundraise to fund the entity. It's like, if I had $500,000 magically in my account tomorrow morning, I could buy 4 stores.
Really?
Well, is that a good
Because-
deal? Is that a good deal for them? Is that a good deal for you to buy 4 stores? I mean, is that
Where it
do the
helps us
numbers
with
work?
it helps us with our economies of scale, and it increases our footprint. And a lot of what we've done, going back to the marketing for Juno's, is to kind of condition the consumers for Juno's brand values, so that if we do open up a store, let's say in the Colony, I have customers that drive from the Colony to my store when we have our allocated bourbon events. If you're not familiar with allocated bourbons, there are things like Buffalo Trace, Weller, Colonel EHL. They're very hard to get Sazerac bourbons. We don't have a say as a store how many we're going to get. It just kind of shows up on our order, and it's based off of our acquisitions of other products within the Sazerac portfolio.
When you're looking at acquiring those businesses, are you looking in one designated area so that your marketing spend is feeding all of the stores and they just go to like one website?
So, yep. So right now our targets are Tarrant, Collin, and Dallas County.
Got it. Okay.
So the Irving store is our first footprint into Dallas County, and that ties in with our wholesale strategy because to sell to bars and restaurants, you have to have a physical location in the county that restaurant is located in because you cannot transport liquor across county lines.
Got it. So then my next question is, do you focus specifically on the distressed acquisitions?
That's our preference, yeah.
Yeah,
Is-
because of the cost.
Yeah, it's, I mean, just like a flipper wants to buy a single family home or
Right.
an apartment
Yeah.
complex when it's in a distressed state. That's how we want the stores because your acquisition costs are lower, but your ROI on the sale
Yeah.
is higher.
Yeah.
And so
Well, you could do the same thing apartments do. I mean, you buy
Yeah.
it distressed
Well, I
or
was gonna
whatever,
ask
and then
about, like, whenever
increase the value by putting more money in or
yeah,
painting
just
the roof.
updating it.
Yeah, you could paint the roof.
Get
or-
rid of the aluminum windows, put vinyl
you could
windows
probably
in.
put paint. You could probably paint the parking lot, and it would. Some of these places would look
The
like
landscape has 100%
Yeah, exactly,
return.
landscape.
so-
Yeah, it's like, unfortunately, some of these distressed stores are not in the best complexes.
Yeah.
And a lot of that is mostly due to the municipality's regulations. So in Arlington, for example, you can only put liquor stores in light industrial or industrial areas. So there's very few that are in high visibility, nice neighborhood strip malls, because those are generally zoned what is called community commercial.
Okay. Hey, so let me ask you this, because this sounds like a really good deal. What would you give up for $500,000?
Right now,
Jordan's got a $500,000 check
I've got
right
it.
now. And
It's right here.
what would you give up?
30%.
So you think the business is worth $1.5 million? Let's just play Shark Tank for a second.
Okay, well, I'm ready.
You're,
I'm here. I'm
you're
Barbara.
you're the Barbara. Yeah, you're Barbara. Okay.
I'll be it.
But it's kind of it's not a startup, but it's kind of a startup type deal. So you're thinking that $500,000 is worth 30% of the business, and you could buy. What would revenues get to if you had 500,000? Any idea, or is that? Have you thought about that? Have you put together an offer?
Yeah, we've got an investor proposal that we send out, and it's like, so.
Oh, hey, I'll put it on the website, or I'll put it on the deal.
Unfortunately, we haven't gotten our SEC filings done for
Jay's
that.
ready to rock.
So right now we're dealing in hypotheticals for educational purposes only.
Yeah.
Disclaimer. on the bottom.
Yeah.
But when you're looking at, Jay, you're an entrepreneur. When you're hearing what he's saying, and as somebody who's trying to become, a serial entrepreneur and have investments and passive income and things like that, when you're hearing what he's saying, you as an investor, a seasoned investor, what is attractive about what he's saying that makes you say, okay, I like where his mind's at with that. I like what this looks like. Like, what is that? And so that whenever somebody's looking to become an investor, they know, oh, these are key things that I need to look for.
Yeah. I think the thing, which I've sitting here thinking about it, it's like an apartment complex. It's like you have a lot of undervalued properties out there. And I don't know, I wanted to talk about the real estate a little bit, because that's probably one of the most important things that some come with it, some don't, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's deal. Like there's one that crossed my desk 2 weeks ago in Rowlett that comes with the real estate.
Yeah.
Our current financials wouldn't support the loan even if it was an SBA loan.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Because with the real estate, I think it's almost a $3 or $4 million acquisition.
Wow. Yeah.
But I would love something like that, because one, it is a huge space that would service our wholesale side really easily. Plus, it could offer a centralized distribution within Dallas County, where we have all of our orders go to this huge, large location, and then our smaller locations can increase their retail merchandising, because it's all about dollars per square foot. So if we have a storage closet in an 800 square foot space, that storage area could be merchandising areas that are generating revenue, as opposed to just storing overstock.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So what I'm looking at this thinking about, okay, there's undervalued assets. Obviously, there's stores out there that have been around for 300 years, right?
Yeah.
Maybe not 300, but a lot of years. They're run down, and the owner's just like, hey, just take it, or
kids
give me a
don't
good,
want it.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like they're burned out.
There's always things like that. All businesses, like royalty interest, or oil and gas, or real estate, apartments, and there's so many out there. That's what I was trying to ask. If there's 200 stores or 300, there's got to be 10% or 20% of those that are potential targets.
Like I said, I get 5 or 6 stores. I get 5 or 6 emails a week about stores that have gone on the market for sale.
Saying, hey, buy me.
Yeah, and that's for and some of them are down in Houston, some of them are over in Austin or San Antonio. I've even gotten listings as far away as Oklahoma. But right now, it's like,
once you get on the list, man, everybody.
Yeah, once you get on the list, it's like, and like there was a group of 3 stores, single owner, that we were negotiating maybe 6 months ago, but they wanted to cash out. They didn't want an equity play. And to get all 3 stores, we just couldn't get the financing together for.
Yeah.
So but those 3 stores would have added almost probably more than $2.5 million in top line sales.
Wow. You should have called me. Should have called me.
I tried.
I'm sitting here thinking about it. Yeah. And two, I'm thinking about our investors, because they're diversified, and a lot of guys do oil and gas, but they also look for other alternative investments. That's why I'm like, hey, I'll be your guy. Just let me know what I need to do. Let me think about what it is that you need and what I need to talk to our investors about, or just make sure it's a good deal for them. Because, I mean, our investors want to know, obviously, how much is it? How much can they make? Is there any distributions? Or if there's not distributions, or we're going to build a business over a 3-year, 5-year period? If so, what does that look like?
Yeah, so it's like, so our goal is we have 2 exit strategies. One, we annoy the noisy,
Drink your profits.
the noisy neighbor strategy. We become such a thorn in someone's backside that they give us an unreasonable offer to go away. So the noisy neighbor strategy. So I won't name names, but we all know a certain bunny that might get annoyed with us if we start taking some of their wholesale business away. The other is if we don't get a purchase offer that we feel will benefit the investors, is we'll just IPO it as a penny stock and get our exit that way.
Yeah. I don't know about that. But anyway,
Yeah, I've always wanted to IPO a company, and it's like, so that's just kind of on my bucket list.
As soon as you said penny stock, I'm just thinking like Wolf of Wall Street. Like that's like where my mind goes, because that's how we got started. Jordan Belford, selling penny stocks.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, he was a good salesman.
Did he sell a liquor store? I bet he sold liquor stores.
He
That dude probably
he could
sold
sell
everything.
A pen, apparently.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Sell me this pen. You're exactly right. But that does really sound intriguing. I'm just trying to figure what is your thought about if you have investors, because you're going to need more than 500,000.
Oh yeah.
You know, I mean, if this is the real deal or whatever the case may be, you probably go through that tomorrow.
Like I said, like I said, if I magically had $500,000 sitting on this table, I would make 3 phone calls and we would have stores.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's the normal? Okay, so let's not talk about real estate, because
Sure.
a lot of guys that I know, there's a guy that he bought El Phoenix. He bought El Phoenix.
Okay.
Another friend of mine bought El Chico, but this guy bought El Phoenix, but he was buying these restaurants because he wanted the real estate.
Yep.
And it was like a totally different. I go, man, how's El Phoenix doing? He goes, I don't care. He goes, I'm looking at the real estate, man. It's paying my dividends and it's paying the real estate off, and became a multi-millionaire just on real estate.
Yeah.
Through passive income
Yeah.
on that? So he invests in the property.
He bought Snuffers. He bought El Phoenix. This is friend, but anyway, bought El Phoenix. Bought another Mexican restaurant.
Yeah.
Bought Snuffers. You ever heard of Snuffers?
No.
The cheddar cheese.
Oh God, they're loaded cheese
Cheddar-
fries.
Oh,
Oh,
my
my God.
Well, this was back in the day. Pat Snuffer created these cheddar fries called Snuffers, and
Stop,
the
I'm
cheeseburgers.
hungry.
Go find a Snuffers. There's one up in Addison, but he just did the real estate side. So I'm just trying to think, for your model though, you want to.
I mean, ultimately, we would like to own the real estate. Right now,
You're
Trying to
getting
get off the
started.
ground,
right now it's
Yeah.
like we're like I said, it's like we took us. If I brought up the chart for the revenue, you would see it from 2001 to 2022. Juno's just nosediving revenue wise.
Yeah.
We take it over in November of 22, and now the hockey stick's going the other way.
Well,
Yeah.
we love to see that. I mean, and that's.
Let me
what
ask you
want.
your marketing. If I look in a Gideon Bible in a hotel and it says, if you have a drinking problem, call this number. Is that Juno's Liquors number?
No.
Is that... I know we're almost out of time.
I'll tell you.
We're almost out of time, and I'm like, I got to tell this joke because I'm thinking about it.
I've been
Going,
thinking about it the whole
Here's
time.
the thing:
know.
it's like the worst day in the store was one day I was walking around the store cleaning up, and I found a 6-year AA chip,
oh really? Oh my
no,
gosh!
that's
How
sad.
and
sad.
it just broke my heart.
Man.
That's tough.
But
Right.
it's like,
Hey, it's all a journey,
Yep.
and the meetings will always be there. So
Yep.
whenever they're ready to go back, they'll be there. So as we are
Wow.
coming up on our time,
I got to ask him some more questions. I got 2 more questions.
okay,
I have one more. So
know,
you go first.
Well, I was thinking. So, how are you going to do your model? Are you going to come out off and ask me for 500, or ask the partners for 500? Tell me how much how much salary you're going to take out of the deal.
I haven't.
How much
I think
it is,
I've
how much-
taken a total of maybe $7,000 or $8,000 out of the store in the last 2 years.
But I'm talking about the future. Okay. How do you live? I mean, how do you live? Okay, you got to live somehow. I mean, my God. I don't take any money out of my business. I know, but there's
He
you're
has a
worth
bunch
$3
of
billion.
businesses.
The guy's worth $3
Well,
billion.
it's
He
like
doesn't like Donald Trump. I didn't get paid as president. I know, but you're worth $3 billion. You make $100 million a year, dude. Don't. Okay, but
Yep.
how do you survive? Or do you have enough other income from other sources?
I mean, I have other streams of income. Plus, it's like, I was a banker. I know I had a pretty good personal, like I've had to liquidate a lot of my stock portfolio.
Got
Yeah.
it.
But-
Okay.
Are you at the end of that? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to get a salary or what? I mean, we need to come back and do a presentation for you.
Being a socially
Maybe a webinar.
So one of the things that I like,
love
again,
this.
with the Starbucks model and a lot of things that are going on out there, especially around wage disparity and CEO compensation. I've thought a lot about this. I mean, the most I would take out of the store is I would take $2,000 a month per store until that hit $10,000, and then I would cap it. Because I want, the money going back into the stores to reinvest, buy more stores. But I also want to invest in our people and try to offer, so for example, I mean, we're a small store, but we offer a 2% company paid retirement savings plan that they're vested in 100% from day one. Because we just have them go set up an IRA or a 401k, and then we just send the
Well, with
distributions
your
to the country.
background, you're able to do, you know how to like massage the deals and plans for the employees to benefit
Yeah.
yourself, the business, and the employees.
And I
A
and we-
2%
and-
what? What was that? 2% what
A
again?
2% company paid retirement savings plan for all employees day one.
So 2% of what?
Their salary.
Their salary.
Yep.
So if I'm making 50 grand, you're going to put $1,000 for me in a.
Correct.
Okay. All right.
So, and since our pay scale starts at $12 and kind of ends at 16 right now, on it for an average employee, we're paying an extra $50 per employee per pay period. But you attract a different kind of employee with that.
100%.
And being in a liquor store where bottles could easily walk out the back door or cash transactions could easily go in the pocket, we want to make sure that we are doing everything we can so that our people feel appreciated and compensated fairly, so that that doesn't even become a thought. Because shrinkage happens when employees feel that they are putting in more than they are getting.
Yeah, this is interesting, Jay, because as I was talking with a few friends of mine. I have a good friend who works in HR at Chevron, and he was talking about employee packages, and their different companies have their packages set differently to attract a certain type of employee. So Netflix, they're really aggressive with theirs because they want new people in, new ideas in, and then go on to the next thing. But at Chevron, they want somebody who builds that knowledge and gains that knowledge to stay there long term.
Right,
So
right.
their packages look different as as you go through different.
Yeah, we're trying to do the
companies.
same thing. That's why I ask everybody. I was
Yeah.
like, man, I'm
Well,
curious to know.
it's that old adage.
You want to keep good people.
Yeah, it's that hypothetical CEO, CFO conversation that we all see as business owners.
Right.
Where the CFO says, we can't afford to keep investing in our people. What if they leave? And the CEO tells them, if we don't invest in it, what happens if we don't invest in our people and they stay?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So who's going to own the other 70%? You and
So
who
right
else?
now we have three partners in the
Three
entity.
partners. Two others.
Two others.
Okay.
So I own 48%. There's another partner that owns 48%, and then we've got a minority partner that owns 4%.
Yeah. What for? Why do you have this 4% guy? Is he really smart, or has he got a lot of money, or?
He's our general contractor, and so his initial investment.
That's over 50%. That's what I'm saying. How do you get that 50% or 51%? So there's got to be someone that's a 51%. You can't have. You're landlocked, or you're not landlocked. You're.
Well, that here. So the other partner that has 48%, he and I were the original ones that went into the store.
Yeah.
The 4% guy came along maybe 9 months into the store. Because I was out there hitting networking events trying to raise $300,000 at that time, and he came in for $40,000 on a $1 million valuation, $20,000 cash, $20,000 in services. So that covered the remodel of our first store to get it in alignment with the brand we were trying to build.
Yeah.
Also, he's a Marine as well, so that gives us 51% veteran-owned status.
Yeah, that's
Okay,
great.
there you go. Yeah.
That's great.
Okay.
And he can be a tiebreaker when me and my other partner, that's the other 48%, who have been friends for 17 years, are two rams on a mountaintop.
Yeah.
Because it happens. No matter how good of friends you are,
Well.
sometimes you just see the world differently.
And that's what I was going to ask.
But
whenever
I-
you go
but
to
Somebody's
you
got
see
to own
that.
majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, so I'm kind of the marketing operations guy. Adam, the other 48% shareholder, he's a wealth manager, so he is very much the numbers guy. I call him my department of no. He's like, no, we don't have money for that. I'm like, all right.
You have to have somebody keeping you grounded.
And that's it. It's like I don't want to be surrounded by yes people.
Well, if he's
You
a wealth
don't
manager-
learn anything
Yes
surrounded by
men.
yes
If he's a wealth manager, he's got 500 grand. I mean, he's got people that have 500,000. Wouldn't you think?
Yes, but FINRA regulations prohibit him from soliciting that type of investment because he's a shareholder.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
But it's like,
Gotcha.
Hey,
You're
so
right.
can you send me some stuff? So we got to go, right?
Yeah,
Is
I have,
it-
I have one more question.
yeah,
One
absolutely.
more question. All right.
We're 5
Here we
minutes
go.
from following up.
We're
but-
wrapping it up.
Yeah.
My question to you, as you look at your career, and I like to ask this question because your career, like many people we've interviewed on the podcast, Jay and I, it has been twists and turns of all different directions. So if you could give your 18-year-old self some advice, what would that be?
buy Amazon.
Fair enough.
Yeah. There you go.
Buy Amazon. Buy
And
hold.
hold.
Buy
the
hold.
line.
Yeah. Write it out. Wait for
great.
the splits.
Yes, exactly.
Is there anything else? I mean, besides being disciplined, or what's the biggest thing for success for you? If you look back and you go, hey man, you know, this is what I've done and this is why I've done it. What's the biggest?
I will answer that question with an old Japanese proverb.
Oh, I love it.
Fall 7 times, stand up 8.
There you go. I like that. Let me ask you one more
Getting
thing.
it
So
tattooed tomorrow.
where do we find you? Do we go to junosliquor.com?
Juno'sLiquor.com.
I know we
We've
go
got
to the Gideon
Juno's-
Bible. We got the Gideon Bible, and we can go there. And if you have a problem with alcohol, call this number. But also junosliquor.com.
So Juno'sLiquor.com. We've got Juno's Liquor on Instagram, Facebook. We've got a Juno's Liquor LinkedIn page. So
Juno's Liquor.
You got everything.
We've
Yeah.
got our own YouTube channel, Juno's Liquor on YouTube, where we do a podcast that we publish monthly called "If You Junos, You Know," where we interview a distiller, a distiller's representative,
Yeah.
do a little cocktail making demo, and where I actually kind of talk about the trials and tribulations of owning a liquor store.
Wow.
great.
Because it's
I think it's an incredible model.
Yeah.
I mean, I think there's so
Yeah.
many opportunities out there to
The
grow this
upside.
business. Yeah, the upside of
here's the
liquor.
thing: in a good economy, people drink to celebrate. In a bad economy, people drink to commiserate.
Yeah, exactly.
fair. That's
I know.
fair.
It's like kind of like a funeral home. I mean, whatever happens,
Yeah,
you're gonna end up there.
no one's getting out of this game alive.
Exactly. So, but I think that's great, and so they can go on Juno's Liquor and look you up, and
Yep.
and that is really good. And I really feel like we've already raised you 500. You're going to need to up your game, buddy. We're going to get there. Just send me the stuff. I may send it out to a couple of guys or something, and we'll think about what it is. We may want more than 30%, but we've got more money behind us, so
Chase
we've got
going
all the
for
money
the
you need.
51. No, then you'd lose your veterans.
We have all the money you need, so it's like it's like if the deal works and it's really one of those scale it and sell it type deals.
Yeah, I mean
You know,
that's
we trademarked that, scale it and sell it. You
There you
can't
go.
use it. Anybody?
Yeah, my goal is for us to have our exit in the next 5 to 10 years, so I can get a golden passport to Portugal and just go tour Europe in my retirement years.
There you
Beautiful.
go.
It's
That's
beautiful.
awesome. 51 years old. Is that what?
51. Yep.
51 years. You look great for 51.
Thank you.
Man.
Well,
I'll
thank
tell my
you.
mother thank you. It was her genetics.
There you go. That's awesome.
Well, we appreciate you being on the show. It's been such a pleasure learning your story, learning about where you're at now and what you're accomplishing. So thank you so much for joining
Well, it's a lot
us.
different than Shark Tank. You know, it's so
we're
different.
nice.
I know. Well, and you don't have those stupid people running around those stupid outfits and all that stuff. But it's a
Yeah,
it's
we don't have a mascot yet.
Not yet.
I mean,
Never
we,
say never.
We'll do some due diligence and see how that works, and then see, hey, man, is this something that we can grow? And somebody maybe put in 5 guys with $100,000 and or something, and then we can add more to it later on and increase the value by scaling it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, man,
absolutely.
That's where it is. I mean, it's scaling it. You can't buy just one
Yeah,
store
no,
and think, okay, hey.
just based off of the discount structures with the suppliers, it's like they're almost ridiculously not discounts because they'll have like a 3-case break, then a 10-case break, then a 25-case break, and then you got to buy 100 or 1,000 to get. It's like, so the only way to get the best price is to have either destination locations like Total Wine that are huge,
Right.
or just saturate the market with our little neighborhood model, and then get those economies of scale through number of locations versus warehouse stores.
All right.
Well, we'll have to talk with you as you continue to expand and get an update here, in the next.
Absolutely.
few
Hey, we're gonna have a
years.
quarterly investor call, right? It's because you're gonna tell us
Well,
how
you
you're
know-
doing, what's going on, and all that stuff.
Yeah, and actually, Jay, the summit for Oil and Gas Investor Summit with King Operating happening October 7th through the 11th.
October 7th through 11th. Yeah,
7th
big
through
update
11th.
there. 7th through 11th, we're gonna have a huge, a lot of different speakers that we're gonna have, and we're gonna. This is gonna be like every quarter. We're gonna do something like this because it's a great way to talk to investors and see if I'd have known about this, or you could watch that and do the same thing that I'm doing with your Juno liquor, just talking to investors and telling them, here's the financials, and here's you watch the investor summit, and I tell people, hey, this is how much it is. How much can you make? How do you make the money? What's going on? What's the transparency? As long as you're transparent with people,
Yeah.
you give it your all, man, there's just really a good thing. And you have a good markup in your business where that
The
liquor-
market, it's a volume business. It's
it's
like-
a volume business. So
it's like,
you get
so
10, 15 stores, it's
yeah, it's like
really a
right
lot
now,
better.
It's like we try to keep a 30% average gross margin. Right now, I think we're hovering about 29.56.
0.5 away, just the last little inch.
It goes up and down.
0.44. But we're not counting. That's too much information. Okay.
Yep.
Hey, everybody, thank you so much. Jordan is here today. Steven
Matsumoto.
Matsumoto, yeah, sorry.
No, it's all
You
right.
were really close
Redneck,
that time.
redneck.
You
You know,
were right
I'll take the
there.
redneck card on that one. So,
No worries.
but anyway, Steven, thank you for being here. And I'll tell you, it's really great. We need more people like this, entrepreneurs that are out here, and man, they got the experience. They've done well, and now they're like, okay, here's like my buddy with the golf, simulator thing that we'll talk about on another show. Anyway, thank you so much for being here today. We'll be back next week,
We'll be
Friday.
here.
Friday, we're going to be here with Eric Rice, who is a
This week.
economist.
Right? This week.
This Friday. Today's
Eric
Wednesday.
Rice, the Rice Report.
Rice Report, yes.
Friday.
It's going to be Friday, and that guy has a lot of information. Man, he's very well known, very well respected. There's a lot of great information you're going to learn from that, and it's going to be really fun. Hopefully, I can stay. I gotta read before I get here Friday because man, I gotta make sure I'm up on all this stuff. But anyway, thank you very much, and have a good day. We'll be back here in a couple of days. Thank you.